The first technique we're going to cover is a technique by someone who I kind of admire because he's a big leg lock guy. His name's Rusumir Toquinho Palhares, and I got to do a seminar with him a little while ago. And he had a classic fight in the UFC against a veteran by the name of Ivan Salivary, who's been fighting in the UFC since the very, very early days. Salivary was another one of my idols when I was just watching stuff on YouTube, and I wasn't even training. I was still a teenager. And he had a great armbar from the back, and he went over the transition in a really cool way. So we're going to start off in a position that in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu we refer to as the back mount. If you guys watch fighting or seen any stuff on TV, whether it's self-defense, MMA, this position is referred to as the back mount. So I'm going to borrow Mr. York first, and let's say somehow, however it went down, maybe he shot in on me and I spun behind him, and I got my hooks in, I tip him over, boom, and I'm on his back. So we're beginning here in the back mount position. I have both my hooks in, I have one arm over his neck, one arm under his arm. Really dominant position for me in mixed martial arts because I can kind of hit him a little bit. He can't really hit me. I've got chokes and all kinds of cool stuff I can do. He can't really do much of that on me, so I'm in a better spot than him for sure. But in this particular bout, Palhares was having a really hard time getting under the neck for the choke. So he couldn't get the choke, and he wanted to be able to go into a different transition. So here's the way he went about it. As I'm here with Mr. York, I'm going to reach this arm of mine up over his head, and I'm going to grab his wrist on this side and grab onto my own wrist. Those of you guys who've done jiu-jitsu and you're familiar with a Kimura grip, this is the grip we're using here. So I'm here nice and tight. I reach over his head so the arm is nice and snug to his head. I get my grip here, I grab my own wrist. Now, my foot that's on the same side as my hands is going to pass across his waist, and my other leg now is going to swing up and over. So I need to kind of bump my hips. I can't just kind of lift my leg up. I really need to get some momentum and bring this leg over his head. At which point I'm going to extend with both of my arms at once, up tight to my chest. So I'm controlling his wrist. My knees are tight, my heels are down. If I lift my hips just a little bit, I'm going to be really easy with Jared here. He'll feel a little pressure on the elbow and give me a tap. Boom, right into the submission. So much less expected than rear naked choke, and that's why the transition worked really, really well. There's a lot of oohs and ahs when this happened in the UFC, and it's a transition I never really forgot. So as I'm here, over the top, his wrist, my wrist. This is the grip, okay? So this is going to be kind of the first little technical nuance we'll have to focus on. What I'm going to do now is pass this foot across to the opposite hip. And now, here's where I got to use momentum. My free leg is going to swing out, up and over his head. And I need to make sure I can kick him and flatten him out. The last thing I want to do is if Jared comes up onto his base, swishes me, I'm not in a great spot there. So when this leg comes over the top, I've got to guide his head back down to the mat. So I'm right on top of him. Good dominating position. I've got his arm all to myself. Knees nice and tight. Extending out. Getting the grip on the wrist. So I was here on this side of the wrist. Here on this side. Down. Knees tight. Heels down. Lift. Easy, easy submission. Okay.
Hey there, do you want to learn all of these UFC techniques in a free DVD sent to you? We literally have the entire seminar on DVD, and we will send this DVD to you free, shipped, and we're sending them all over the state of Rhode Island. Simply by visiting blackdiamondmma.com/UFC and filling in the form there, or by giving us a call at 401-308-3229. In addition, you'll also get a copy of my book, The Unexpected Champion, featuring Ben Askren, who's an undefeated pro MMA fighter and a wrestling Olympian. So you'll have all these UFC techniques via DVD from the entire seminar that we did, UFC Techniques Made Easy, and you'll also get a copy of the Ben Askren book sent to you 100% for free. Again, either give us a call at the number there or visit blackdiamondmma.com/UFC.